the way I want you. I hate the ache. You're the hum inside my skull, the pull and the weight. My feet find yours, looking for escapes. Emergency break glass. Find my hiding place. I'm just almost. I'm just almost. I will fuck this up with the truth of your name. But tonight is a black dog. I'm biting my tongue to stay. Let's measure the damage.
Yes, people, and welcome to the White Room Sessions podcast. I am here with my guest today. It's JJ Lovegrove.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. How was your jam session?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it's a great one. What songs did you perform?
So, Platina and Almost. So they're from the sort of darker part of a new album that I've been working on. So, yeah.
Okay, so you're working on a new album.
Yeah.
Have you got a name yet?
I have. It's called History is the Struggle of Becoming. It's quite wordy, isn't it?
Yeah, tell me more on that. Tell me more.
So it's a concept album in a way. It's based on the work of D.H. Lawrence.
Yes.
And it's sort of my interpretation of main character vibes, I guess, of my lived experience about sort of D.H. Lawrence's books. He spoke really well for women in these communities, and living in one 100 years after he was here, I thought I could speak for myself. So I did that.
And how did that come about? Because that's very unique. You know, I love that word anyway.
Yeah.
But in terms of that, how did that come about? Was you just reading a D.H. Lawrence? So you're obviously clearly a fan.
Yeah.
But what made you then go, I'm going to create an album around this?
Well, I love literature anyway, and I think that we're very lucky to live where we live and we're steeped in it. But I do get a little bit fed up with all the blue plaques being for men. And I think I had this idea of doing an EP based on maybe literature and, how I could work into doing stuff like that. And then I thought to myself, well, he spoke for women and he got flack for doing it, but why don't we just speak for ourselves? Nothing's actually changed that much since, some of the things that he depicted in his books. So I just thought, yeah, I like going down a bit of a rabbit hole, and it felt like a really big rabbit hole I could get stuck into. So yeah, I did that.
I love that. It's like almost have you researched more as well as you've been kind of creating this album?
Yeah, I've gone book by book, and I've really affiliated with the characters in the book, and I've written in the houses that he lived in, and I've got backing from the D.H. Lawrence Birthplace Museum and stuff. So it's been amazing and eye-opening really to sort of reimagine those things and just and feeling like, wow, he's talking about me actually. So yeah.
Has this been your favourite creative process, album-wise? So how many albums have you done?
I've done one previously, and I've done a couple of EPs. But yeah, I've gone big with this one. So I've normally record at home or remotely with producers and stuff. I've learned how to self-produce, but also working with an amazing producer called Ed Harcourt, who I'm a huge fan of. So yeah, self-funding and doing all of that has meant the project's been a really big one and meaty, and I've loved it. Yeah,
and it just feels different.
Yeah,
this project.
Yeah, it does.
Amazing.
Yeah, it does.
Women in music, where do you think it's currently at? So we're in 2026, and you said before there's kind of still representation 100% needed. And I think there always will be. But where do you think it's currently at?
Yeah, I think people think that we're at a bit of a crossroads of stuff and that we've crossed over and we don't have to worry about it anymore, but it's quite the opposite, actually. I'm really proud to work with a couple of organisations that champion women in music. One is Loud Women and the other one is the F List.
Is that solely music? It's solely women?
Solely female, composers and musicians. And they quite often get approached by newspapers for quotes on things. And recently it was so feminism doesn't need to happen anymore, does it? Because did you see the Grammys? Have you seen how many were nominated? There were so many women, but it's still 2-3% of women. And I think on the ground, grassroots levels, it's actually with the rise of more right-wing culture and little communities, reform and stuff, their values don't align with a lot of the sort of liberal views that we were sort of striking for. So in many respects, it's got harder for grassroots, artists anyway.
Female artists or in general?
Yeah, female artists or anybody just trying to, live their life the way they want to live it, that rocks any kind of boat, I think. It's become so polarised online, and those little tiny communities, it's harder to find like-minded people and foster those places that you feel safe in. And
fostering talent as well, right? Yeah, so getting out there and obviously I think a lot of people think that, with the Grammys and Brit Awards, and these kind of big award ceremonies that people are bashing record labels. And in my experience, that's not the case. It's just saying we need to have fair representation or actually fair pay.
Yeah.
And that's the message I get anyway.
It is. And also I think that it's a good starting point for record companies to realise now that they need to bring something else to the table, because like if they can do all of this without the label, what are the label actually bringing? Like, and it's really lovely to see so many women being celebrated for doing their things, but I think it's really easy to forget that people like Ray and Self-Esteem, where were the people 10 years ago when they needed them to champion? It's only now that they want to champion them that they've got there. But,
so I saw Ray at Brighton Pride around 4 years ago. Timings might be a bit off, but she got on and she was on the kind of change of coming away from a record label, and she was basically saying, I'm going to go more R&B, and it was just amazing to see, because I clocked that, and obviously a majority of people were pissed. It's Bright. But yeah, I mean, I can remember just hearing that and going, okay, and then clocking that, because it was very kind of dance music at the time that there's doing, and you kind of have to go in the way where your record label is kind of pushing you. Have you ever felt that pressure? Have you ever felt like a way, even if it's not from a record label, have you ever felt a pressure to go with what's trending or that sound?
I think the unspoken thing that female artists often feel the pressure of, which it just doesn't get addressed a lot, is if you're a solo female artist, I can't tell you how many people say that you should just get a band. Why haven't you got a band? Like it's a strange thing to be a female artist on your own. And as soon as you reach a certain level, they're like, yeah, you need a band now. And they mean all men normally. They mean, right, you need a band. But they wouldn't say it to Ed Sheeran. You know, they don't say it to certain people who are able to just be a solo artist, but it just feels like there's a misogyny about female artists on their own. And it happened with, you know, artists who've been in Glastonbury, you know, just getting flack for being on a stage on their own. So I think that's the bit that you feel pressure of. And also, I think the charts and everything, streaming is so homogenized and everything's so beige. And I'm all for finding the other nuances. And we wouldn't have had people like Radiohead and just all of my favorite artists that have inspired me. We wouldn't have had any of those starting now, unless we all start to just focus on what we want to make.
What do you think people need to do? What do you think it is in terms of, obviously, get behind grassroots music and the independent venues, but what do we need to do in order to help change these attitudes? And as a supporter and as a fan, what do we need to do to kind of get behind these artists?
I think the more empowered listeners are, because I think a lot of the time artists are made to feel about Spotify like they're the baddies. Maybe you shouldn't be on Spotify, you should just take all your music off of there, and you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. But actually it's listeners' power. If they know how little of the money is going there and they can support in other ways, I think that can only be a good thing. But I think fundamentally it needs to be a government thing. Like as a culture and as a society, we need to place more value on art and music, like they do in places like Ireland, and they give them a minimum wage. I think unless we start valuing arts in our curriculum and just fundamentally as a way of therapy for all of us, or you know, a medicine for people with dementia and Alzheimer's, it's a really valuable tool, and I think we just disregard it.
And we're not saying that it doesn't happen, because I know it's happening out there, and there's some fantastic music programs. I know you're, you know, a part of some of these. They're scraping by. But not just that, they're on a funding cycle, and also it's these independent charities and organisations that are doing it. I mean, I'm part of a couple at the moment, but like you say, I think the real issue is that it should be nationalised, and it should be where the government are actively getting involved. I saw a thing with Kate Nash in the Houses of Parliament the other day, and she's there, you know, fighting the cause. But like you say, you recognise it because it's an isolated, you know, thing, and really it should be the government getting behind it. So what can we do then to kind of fly the flag nationally? Do you think we should protest? Should we all do a massive jam and a massive choir and just take it to Downing Street? I mean, that sounds cool.
I've had the privilege of being in Westminster, and I've been in those rooms, and I've lobbied, and I've spoken to those people before the Labour Party got in. I spoke to those people, and they were like, listen, it's going to be very different when we get in. It's going to be so different. We love music. We love artists. We would, you know, we're not going to say retrain like a certain, you know, COVID prime minister might have done. But then they get in and it's the same thing. There's no money. God, we would give it you if we would. I think protest is a good thing, but I think protest using your art. I don't think there is a lot of protesting in art at the moment. And if we're angry, what better way than to just just to say what's on your mind via art, and don't be scared about it and have an outlet for that. Find your communities, and
the irony in using your voice, isn't it? It's using your voice to kind of make a noise. Shifting a little bit, I kind of want to know your influences, because like you say, you mentioned the word, kind of dark. It's a little bit more kind of like moody music. Moody music. Moody music. That's a Spotify playlist right there. I mean, it's already there. It's already
got to be slightly niche as well.
Who was your influences? Like going, and it doesn't necessarily have to be artist. It can just be, what was your sound like growing up, and how did you discover music?
Music's all I've ever known, really, and I got my first keyboard when I was 4.
Wow. A lot of noise.
It's just a Bon Tempi thing. I started really early, but music was a huge part of my household. My dad used to play drums, and he was the original drummer for a band called Hot Chocolate back in the day.
I can remember them. Yeah.
So,
You Sexy Thing.
But
he was the drummer for them
before. Before they got
doesn't
famous.
matter. It still counts. It definitely still counts.
So and I'm named after an Al Green song called Judy. So
come on.
So I'm proud of that. Sort of soul, and that was all my growing up. I thought my dad was Elvis for a while. Music's always been there, but influences, loads. I've always kind of wanted to be a guitarist on the keyboard, if that makes sense. So I know it's not very trendy, but I've always kind of wanted to be the Edge from U2.
Okay.
And just those sparkly, glittery guitars. So one day when I can afford it, I'll have a huge pedal board and just do all that. But there's so many artists that really inspire me. Peter Gabriel's a huge inspiration for me. And I think the way he's fostering a community as well, staying in his lane that he loves, and fostering all of that in his studios. That's a beautiful thing too.
How did you shape your sound? Like, can you remember, is there like a point, or was it just a gradual thing? Like, did you know kind of straight away as you was kind of performing, you thought, oh yeah, this feels right for me? Or is it just developed over time?
It kind of has developed over time, but I used to be in a band, and there was only 3 of us, and I would always come out on my own and start the show, like really big shows, like we did some big supports and stuff. So I kind of had that confidence as I went along to kind of go, actually, it's the power in my voice and the keys. And that's why I love performing, because there's nothing like being in that room at that time and just holding people. And just, stepping back. I think performing is a two-way thing. And I think if anybody goes out there and performs and just goes through the motions and doesn't let the audience be a part of that conversation and how they're feeling, and let them answer and respond, and you pull and push, that's where the real magic happens in a room. So I think I've kind of developed my sound based on my audiences and what they've told me that has really resonated with them or responded, and in turn that's helped my songwriting. And we're all part of the composition process, which I love. So you love interacting with your audience. What's one of the best interactions you've ever had, where you kind of had just there and it's in the moment, and there's a song in particular that I have to gear myself up to play, but it's called The Bet, and it's for a Nottingham artist who was a huge friend of mine called Michaela, or Wilted Flower, and I wrote it after we lost her, and to this day, I wrote it within a week after her passing away, because it's just a way of me processing things. That's what songwriting is for me. It's just like, how do I understand this? So then if it then helps somebody else, and there's not a day that I perform that somebody doesn't come to me and say, oh, I needed that. And I think... Incredible. I think that... I don't know if this is a strange thing, but I think that I like to think of my performances as some sort of space that would have been maybe where people shared their emotions or feelings, like a church would have done, like in a community where singing was this cathartic thing, just to feel like those tingly bits. And I think that music is that kind of thing. I think it helps us process that stuff. So I like to help people do that, hopefully. I always say it's a unifier, and I think that's amazing that in that week you obviously just went with how you was feeling, and you wanted to get it down on paper as best you knew, and that kind of thing. Was it something that really helped Yeah.
with the grieving process.
Yeah, and it's a way of me keeping her alive.
Yeah.
And it's a way of me, when I play at a gig as well, I'm able to say, go and check out that, keep her music alive as well. And just kind of, but also like it helps anybody in that room who might not be having a good day or it's okay to feel like this, and it's okay to process these things, and you don't have to just like put on a good face and get through the day. It's good to stop and just acknowledge these feelings, I think
that's the most important thing. And you saying that, a lot of people would appreciate that, where you go, it's all right to feel shit, and own it, and then how are you going to kind of process that and kind of come out the other side of it? That's the main thing.
And I think the worst thing is if you try and repress those things, or if music doesn't do that for you or get that out of you, then like that's almost like they didn't mean anything anyway. So I think it's good, hold on to that and nourish it, and just it means it's good. It's human condition.
What does music mean to you? Big question, right?
Yeah. I don't think I would be alive. I don't know how to do anything else. I genuinely don't. It's saved my life. It's made my life. It is everything I do. It's a strange thing, and but it is literally it's every part of my life. It's there is no other aspect. Every job I've ever done has revolved around music, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
How's it saved your life? In what sense?
I think it's the cheapest form of therapy that I know.
What a good way to put that. That's amazing. Yeah, it's cheap therapy.
Yeah, it's very cheap therapy.
Stick on some music
at the best of times. But I think being able to process things that you go through in life, and just sort of any trauma or any kind of thing, as a way of, there's something really alchemical and lovely about sitting with yourself. And it's not easy as well. The best songwriting is not easy. You have to really dig deep and confront things that you don't want to confront. Yeah. But in doing that, there's something that it can turn into, and there's something really magical about ink on paper or typing on a screen coming to life, then from your lungs being brought to an audience, and then them carrying it with them in their hearts wherever they go, or in their headphones, or it's such a powerful thing. And I don't know of any other thing that one human can give to another that could have so much impact that you could just carry with you. It just doesn't exist, does it, in that respect? I think when you really love and feel and live and breathe music, basically, I think the way you've put that, it is just, that's so important to you, isn't it? And it's just, it is. If one thing I can write that has helped me then resonates with somebody else, that's what life, that is life. That is,
And I don't think we need to say any more on that. I think that's a really good point to end on, that actually you're here doing your music for you, but actually if it resonates with other people, then you are more than happy, and you will continue to do that. I can't wait for the album, and just hearing the story, the backstory behind it, and I'm sure other people will as well. So thank you so much, JJ Lovegrove, for joining us. We have been White Room Sessions. See ya.
know how it feels.